A brilliant dedication from the famous Forrest Fenn, a war hero who built a treasure hunt grave marker to honor all veterans, especially the lost and forgotten. Veterans Day, a way to ensure their contributions are not forgotten. What about the lost and forgotten soldiers nobody ever knows about? Forrest wrote a story, My War for Me, which was his life-altering experiences about one specific lost soldier. That lost soldier's epitaph created a chain of events in Forrest's life, surviving cancer and creating a brilliant treasure hunt for children to find a hidden treasure chest and still give that dedication. My War for Me is the most important story to find Forrest Fenn's secret and understand his honorable intentions. I'm giving the world the chance to understand the true hero, Forrest Fenn, by presenting his story in this video because I own the copyrights now to his book. Please pause on each frame to read each one so you can fully understand the real Forrest Fenn and how important that grave marker was to create the ultimate hero dedication story. folks, Dave Woodard here. First of all, I would like to say thank you to all of our veterans. It's Veterans Day right now, and my son was a veteran. My father was a veteran. Both my brothers are veterans, and my brother-in-law is a veteran. There's so many people. Everybody knows somebody that's a veteran, so thank them today. Forrest Fenn was also a veteran, but there's a difference now. He's gone. A lot of other veterans have gone, and this day dedicates what they gave, serving their country. They're all heroes. Now, Forrest Fenn created this treasure hunt, and I put a story about his war experience in this video, and I shortened it up, and I'm hoping people actually paused and read every part of that. And it's quick. You're going to have to just do 2 seconds, hit pause. Do 2 seconds, hit pause. But if you just played it and didn't read what Forrest Fenn went through in Vietnam, then that's a shame, because if you didn't have the book, The Thrill of the Chase, then you don't understand what this treasure hunt that he created was about. So The Thrill of the Chase, the most important story was My War for Me, because that story describes how he makes a dedication to that lost French soldier. That story gives everyone the understanding of Forrest hating the war, hating being in doing what he was doing. He loved to fly. He was a great combat pilot, but he was tired of the political bullcrap that was being dealt out. And he says it in the stories, but he also says how much that grave marker, when he found it, it burned in his brain. And that right there, folks, that grave marker was his secret alone that he went into Vietnam and found. So that right there, Forrest Fenn created the poem. You could find that treasure chest without the book if you understood. He said the most important clue in the poem is the first clue, which is the number 1 stanza, and it pinpoints Palisade Sill. That's how I solved it. I drove up to that grave marker on my very first trip. That's how you solve this treasure hunt, folks. The easy way. You can go through the whole poem and learn the map, like I had to do completely and fully over the last 3 years, because it was a mixed up, fraudulent ending to Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt. So that veteran that created this treasure hunt to be a beautiful, wonderful thing for folks to go out and look for with their kids turned shameful. So Forrest Fenn, in the end, was robbed of his legacy of a treasure hunt about heroes, about lost heroes, his dedication to all of the lost and forgotten soldiers of so many wars. And if you actually read the story, you see that. You see how much it bothered him. And at the end of the story, he finally found his way. And he says, so in my mind, these lines have converged to tell a story that satisfies me in my heart, where only there it really counts. So that grave marker that Forrest Fenn created with Kent and Esther and the Philadelphia Caper, his mind came up with Ken, Esther, Canasta. That's the ha-ha-ha moment in Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt. That's the point. That's the turning point where Forrest Fenn came up with that canasta joke to dedicate on the grave marker, to dedicate to that French soldier with the epitaph that says, please my ghost and smile at a homely girl. Forrest Fenn's 2 people keeping his secret in his poem, in his story, and how, like where the treasure chest is, there's 2 people keeping his secret. And it's Kent Clark Kent and Aunt Esther. He dedicated to superheroes by Superman, his most favorite superhero in the world. And then he also dedicated to the French soldier for the homely girl with Aunt Esther, the most homely girl in Hollywood at the time. It was a brilliant, brilliant treasure hunt ending, a storybook dedication to all kinds of different heroes and comic book connections that was taken away from Forrest Fenn for this legacy to be known. So that's why I'm here, for that veteran, that great man that created a beautiful treasure hunt for a child to solve. A kid that went out there that was into comic books. Forrest Fenn said, my mind stays at about 13 years old. Forrest Fenn said, if anybody over the age of 12 doesn't see a little bit of themselves in this mirror, then they deserve another turn. That's the mirror dimension where he said in his plane when he came up with making Esther into Canasta, that his mind took him to another dimension. It was the mirror dimension because he loved comic books. That the Marvel gaze, folks, is all of the Marvel characters. The who's who that he mentions is the DC definitive directory of DC characters. He gave us all the clues inside of his poem for a child to solve this treasure hunt. Now, I'm a big kid at heart, but I believe in right and wrong. And there was a wrong that was done to Forrest Fenn, and there was a wrong that was done to me. So that man, a war hero, decorated, and again, the story, My War for Me, shows you how important that dedication was. That story, if you don't have to read any other story, but there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, folks, of comic book connections, of comic book little stories, of dedications to people with disabilities, dedications to people with cancer, dedications to his father, dedications to sport heroes, dedication to Rambo. There's so many different, every story has something about a hero. And there's other comic book connections hidden into it. Folks, Forrest Fenn said he built this poem like an architect. And he did. And I solved it like an architect. So, and that's in my last video that went to the deputy that told me 5 days ago, Dave, I don't think I can look into this any further because there's pictures of Jack Stoof and Forrest Fenn meeting where he showed him the treasure chest. So it looks legit. So what I told that deputy was, you're seeing the deceit that was put out into the public so that you would not question Jack Stoof. Jack Stoof does not have a solve. Jack Stoof does not understand the poem. Jack Stoof did not find the treasure chest in Wyoming at 9 Mile Hole or wherever, because they don't give you all the information, folks. This whole thing has become theft in New Mexico and deception up in Wyoming by Shiloh Old and Jack Stoof and Carl Summer, Cynthia Meacham. Those are your players that have destroyed this war veterans' beautiful, beautiful treasure hunt. So I'm here to defend Forrest Fenn. That deputy, I thought he was going to call me back the next day. He's investigating me, folks. That's what I wanted him to do. The legitimacy of my claims that I solved this treasure hunt. You have Davy B who put the magicians up this morning. I watched it. It's a good video. The man's a good man. He just can't get it through his head that Shiloh Old has committed a crime. And that's a sad thing because he's defending a criminal in the end. There was a whole treasure hunt ending that was given out to the public by Shiloh Old, which is all deception. There's a treasure hunt ending that came about June 6, 2020, when Forrest Fenn said it was solved by a man from back east, who I didn't know. He solved it precisely using the poem, and it led him to the precise spot. That's how you solve this, folks, by the poem. That's how I solved it. And there's two different ways to solve it, which are in my videos. But if you look up Evidence 1 video, Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt poem solved precisely within 30 minutes. That video explains what the actual poem is. Now, not understanding fully what Forrest Fenn did, that the thrill of the chase is the way to solve this treasure hunt. And Davy B said it, the thrill of the chase. That's the main way to solve this treasure hunt, is you have to understand that's the only clue. If you're lost down a rabbit hole, come back to the thrill of the chase, which is Superman 1978. The scene out of Superman was thrill of the chase. It lets you know you're looking for Lois and Clark, Clark Kent on the cross. That grave marker that Shiloh Old hid from the public and took over Forrest Fenn his last 3 months of his life. And there were no reporters. There were no video clips of Shiloh and Jack Stoof and Forrest Fenn during that get-together. That was staged, and Forrest Fenn was not happy about it. He loved his treasure chest. He was smiling over the treasure chest, but he was not smiling at Jack Stoof, folks. Don't get deceived by what the staged ending. I'm here to go to court against Shiloh Old for the theft of Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt from me behind my back. And my other videos show how that came into play. When I found the treasure chest location with Kent and Esther at the first clue. So I didn't know who Kent and Esther were, but it didn't give cause for Shiloh Old to go check that treasure chest for Forrest Fenn and steal it. And then lie to Forrest Fenn that it was still there. And then make believe that Jack Stoof went and got it. 6 months later? June 5th, 2020. That's the story they came up with. But now the story's changing, folks. The story's changing to Jack Stoof. I'm not even going to get into the story, because once you change the original story, it becomes deception, especially with a treasure hunt like this that was put out to the public by Forrest Fenn, so that a person with a pickup truck would go out and solve this treasure hunt with his kid learning about comic books. That's the amazing thing that this war veteran did to the public and for the public. And at the end of his life, his name got smeared by people because nobody understood the end and they thought there was deception. Yes, but it was not Forrest Fenn, folks. It was Shiloh Old. And that family right there, that family with Shiloh Old, knows that they cannot take me to court because they will lose. So I've called them out for 3 years. I've filled out paperwork to get them to court civilly. They didn't show up. You know why, folks? Because if they show up, they're going to get caught for fraud, theft by deception. And that's a fact. So that family, they have power. They would shut me down in a second if I was slandering them. I'm not. I'm calling out Shiloh Old as the person who stole Forrest Fenn's treasure. And Jack Stoof came forward saying that he's the guy that found it. Jack Stoof is going down for fraud for the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. I've asked Jack Stoof to call Aaron Wiseman in Wyoming, and he refuses to. But it's been 5 days that deputy is looking into my... If he didn't find credibility, he would have called me the next day and said, Dave, I still don't believe that your Evidence 1 video, I don't believe it. But he believes it. But he has to look into this now. So he's a hero to me, as I said in my other video. And he's going to go down as a hero, bringing this up to the Attorney General's office to move forward in Wyoming and in New Mexico for one of the biggest treasure hunt fraudulent endings in the history of our lives, folks. That veteran right there got screwed over. And I'm here to put it out to the public. I didn't want to go this route. I've asked multiple times for Shiloh Old to come clean and give out the truth. But he won't, folks. They just sit back because there's no way they can get out of this right now. With the evidence that I have, the thrill of the chase,
And that grave marker that was hidden from the public, that grave marker in his My War for Me story is Forrest Fenn's secret. And that, his secret where? Is Palisades Hill, folks, in Cimarron Canyon, New Mexico. And that place is probably going to get overrun soon enough with people trying to get up to his blaze, which may be destroyed by now. I don't know. I haven't been down there for 3 years. When I knew I was deceived, I investigated for 3 years to solve this mystery of the theft, of why the treasure chest was taken by Jack Stoof. And I figured it out because it wasn't taken by Jack Stoof. Jack Stoof is just a pawn in this huge, huge deception of the ending of Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt by Shiloh Old. And there's so many people that don't want to come forward. They're going down in history as villains and involved in the conspiracy to commit fraud. I've warned them, I've asked them, but the NDAs, I don't know how powerful an NDA is, but I'm telling you right now, as the solver of this treasure hunt, I'm the one that could say, I don't want to prosecute against these people. They came forward. They came forward and told the truth. And that's what I'm here all about. Justice, telling the truth, coming forward and being honest. So, Davey B, the other Forrest Fenn vlogger, if you really believe that I'm the villain here, more power to you. Back the Forrest Fenn family. Back Shiloh Old. I'm not saying the whole Forrest Fenn family is evil. Shiloh Old made a mistake and his family's covering for him. And so is his lawyer, who's done some naughty things to cover for him. And I gave Dale Neitzel a chance to come forward. If you're familiar with the treasure hunt, Dale Neitzel is a big name. I have my Dale Neitzel call-out video before my Evidence 1 video. That folks, when you see this, and you know, there's another video that I've watched probably 300 times on my own that I created, and it's called the 5-second bonus round of superheroes. And that was way back. That one is awesome to watch. And it's just over 11 minutes. Look through my videos. The layers videos absolutely explains everything. The Forrest End videos, absolutely. There's so much evidence to prove. They know, no way in hell, that if they get into court against me, they're going to win. There's no way. So once this goes to court, it's an open and shut case, actually, because they don't have 9 clues to say, this is why we have the treasure chest. Jack Stoof is going to roll over like the snowball effect that's going to happen from Jack Stoof coming forward, calling out Shiloh Old. It's going to create a snowball effect that all leads back to Shiloh Old. And that's who I'm calling out. I don't know what judgment I'll get from the judge. I've asked for a certain amount, but there will be a class action suit that comes out of this. And there's a lot of people who put a lot of time and energy into this treasure hunt that want the truth. So I'm here to give them the truth. Whether they want it or not, whether you're willing to accept it or not, it does not matter. What matters is a veteran war hero got screwed in the back. I'm here defending him. If you don't want to defend Forrest Fenn with me, you're not on my team of heroes. And there's going to be law enforcement, a lot of law enforcement, that because I'm law enforcement, I'm like ex-law enforcement that retired from the Department of Corrections in Massachusetts. There's veterans that should step forward, because I wasn't a veteran, but Forrest Fenn was. He got screwed royally for his legacy that he put out there. And there's a saying that he said that he wanted on his epitaph.
I wish I could have lived to do the things I was attributed to.
Forrest Fenn spent 15 years collecting thousands of comic book characters and hid them and infused them in his stories in this treasure hunt. It's an amazing 15-year creation that was stolen away from a veteran. So I'm here on Veterans Day asking all of the veterans that watch this, please pass this around. Have people watch this video. Read the story. It takes a little bit of time. But if you know what? To have it simplified and placed in front of you and you still don't look at the facts, that's a shame. Because a man's honor, a man's integrity that's been shamefully ended in this treasure hunt about scandal that nobody understands. You have the guy that solved it coming forward to give you the truth. And if you can't take a half an hour and really go through and read what Forrest Fenn did in this story, what he built, what it meant to him to dedicate to all lost soldiers, all the heroes in the wars that everybody forgets about. And there's not a lost and forgotten dedication to lost heroes that nobody ever knows about. That's what he was doing by dedicating to that French soldier with Aunt Esther, the homely girl. So if you may not understand it fully, but folks, Forrest Fenn was a hero. Forrest Fenn was a veteran. He was a decorated combat pilot, a soldier that survived 2 missions going down. He's going to go down in history. And I'm going to make sure he goes down in history as what he created and what he wanted. Something good for folks for a child to find that treasure chest. And I know that by Shiloh Old stealing that from me, he took that glory of me digging up that treasure chest. But I had that secret between Forrest Fenn and I. So Shiloh Old stealing it from the public place, and keeping it, and then coming up with deception of Wyoming was horrible. So Shiloh Old needs to be called out. But none of the vloggers have enough balls to come forward and say, I'm calling out Shiloh Old. I want to step up and see. Shiloh Old is supposed to have a 9-clue solve with Jack Stoof. Shiloh Old is supposed to know exactly what Forrest Fenn's secret was. Shiloh Old is supposed to have all the answers. And Shiloh Old is the one that orchestrated 3 years of deception to the world to block me, the solver, from coming out and giving the information to the public. And he did for 3 years. But now that I have the actual facts of Thrill of the Chase, the Thrill of the Chase, that right there, that is the title to the gold. That is the title to everything. That is the title to his books that I own now. That's why I put this video out, so you could understand that story that leads you to the grave marker that Forrest Fenn created. So the comic book collectors and the fans of Marvel movies and DC movies, those are the folks that will go, hey, this is really, really freaking cool. And there's so many comic book connections to bring you to that $1 million+ treasure chest that was stolen from me. So my heart goes out that Forrest Fenn was robbed of this treasure hunt ending of glory and honor. But that man was a veteran. So I'm going to have law enforcement behind me. I already have a Gardner Fire Department, has Team Dave. They know, they watch my videos and go, there's a lot of cool things in here. And I'm going to have law enforcement that's going to do it next. I'm waiting for my full team of law enforcement to back me. I'm waiting for all the veterans to back Forrest Fenn. But I'm not going to wait anymore, folks. If you don't want to step forward in the name of honor, glory, legacy, and honesty and integrity towards Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt for a child to solve, and for me solving the mystery of Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt and the mystery of the scandalous, fraudulent cover-up ending that I solved, then that's a shame, because it's going to come out in the public, and I want heroes on my list to have joined me. And there are people joining every day. I have a new person I add to my list. But the general public, the media, doesn't want to do it. They don't want to put the dirty scandal out there because they don't think there's any proof. There's proof, folks, and I've shown it. The Evidence 1 video is actually the true solve of how to find Forrest Fenn's treasure chest in the wilderness of the Rockies. So, Davy B, you're a good-hearted man, but there's two roads that you can take. The one that makes sense or the one that just says, I don't believe that Shiloh Old would do that. And you're on that, don't believe it. But there's facts that prove otherwise. And folks, I believe Greg Allen is really, really, really dirty. He's Rick Novak. Now he's some other Polovich, the videos that are coming out. And it's a shame because he's a great character and I put him in my list, my team of heroes, but I shouldn't because he's still against letting the true information out about what Forrest Fenn did. He's still blocking it. And Shy Guy is still blocking it. And Why Must I Go? Which are Frank Beer Jr. and Troy Barlow. Those are the three guys that I would forgive if they came forward and said, Dave, you know what? I'm not going to fight you anymore. I want the truth from Shiloh. But you don't get the truth from Shiloh, folks. Shiloh Old does not give out what the actual solve is. So right now, when we go to court, it's like a bank robbery. All right? The bank owns the money, but they don't have it. So they don't have any proof on who has it. Who has it? Shiloh Old has it. And he came up with Jack Stoof. That right there, that's evidence that they have the actual treasure chest that was stolen from Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt. They have to prove why they have it. And they can't prove that, folks. Otherwise, I would have gone to court with them a long time ago. So, back Forrest Fenn. Back me. Join my team of heroes against the villains that have committed this crime against a war hero, a veteran, a great man, and me, a great man, coming forward, figuring all of this out. So thank you, folks. Thank you, veterans, for all of you given. And I thank the lost and forgotten veterans like Forrest Fenn did in this story, in this treasure hunt. And that's an incredible thing when you fully understand what Forrest Fenn did. Giving honor to the ones that we would never know about, that French soldier. Read the story again, now that I've said this to you, and it'll make a lot more sense of what Forrest Fenn created around this treasure hunt ending with the grave marker, Kent and Esther, that was hidden from the public. Folks, thank you so much. Please have a great Veterans Day and honor the ones that deserve it. My name is Dave Woodard. I am the man from back east that Forrest Fenn knew solved his treasure hunt. I'm the man that solved it precisely with the poem. Not kind of precisely at the time, but I did now to prove there's been fraud that's gone on. And thank you to that deputy who's looked into this and has waited over a week because he's investigating it now. He knows. He's like, there's something here that I need to investigate. Because the truth is here, folks. The truth is in these videos of the actual, factual ending to Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt and how it came into play with fraud, theft, and deception. So it's a sad, sad thing, but it's over, folks. Closure is here. The end is nigh. It will get bumped up to Aaron Wiseman, the prosecuting attorney in Wyoming, for Yellowstone. And I've already done all of the reporting to Yellowstone that there was a crime that's gone on. I have the people I've talked to. They will step forward and say, yes, he came forward saying there was a crime. We didn't believe him. We had no evidence. Now you have evidence, folks. The thrill of the chase is thrill of the chase. 1.61 scene from Superman. You're looking for Lewis and Clark. You're looking for Clark Kent on the grave marker. That's a factual solve. Even no matter how many vloggers will tell you otherwise, that is a factual solve that a child could figure out. Especially if you understood a lot of the Superman and comic book and characters in Forrest Fenn stories, which you didn't need. You just needed the poem. That's how I saw that, just a poem. I had to find these after because that treasure chest was stolen from me. So, folks, I will admit it. I'm very proud of myself for doing what I did, for solving this mystery. But to defend a man that created this, a veteran, a war hero, a decorated war hero, that needs to really, that needs to be stepped up to the media and the public so that folks understand. It's Veterans Day. Honor Forrest Fenn and join my team of heroes. Thank you, folks. I will talk to you soon. Probably not too soon. I need a friggin' break. But I wanted this out for Veterans Day. So thank you all for your service. Take care.